Indonesian President Jokowi visits Malaysia after winning re-election. Hajj pilgrims ready for Mashar. Well, hello and good evening. You're watching News on 2 with me, Muhammad Amin Carlos. Now, visiting Indonesian President Joko Widodo arrived at the Perdana Putra building in Putrajaya today for an four-eyed meeting with Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad. Well, Joko, who is popularly known as Jokowi, flew in yesterday for a two-day visit to Malaysia. He was accompanied by his wife, Iriana Joko Widodo. Well, Jokowi and Tun Dr. Mahathir later discussed matters of bilateral, regional and international interests. The Indonesian president tweeted that he also discussed with Tun Dr. Mahathir, among others, matters pertaining to Indonesian migrant workers in Malaysia, cross-border cooperation and discrimination against the oil palm products of the two countries. Well, a foreign ministry statement had said that the visit by Jokowi is the first abroad following his re-election as the Indonesian president for the second term on 17 April. Well, earlier, Jokowi was accorded an official welcome at the Perdana Square. And after the national anthems of the two countries were played, Jokowi inspected a guard of honor mounted by 106 officers and men of the 1st Battalion Royal Malay Regiment, led by Major Muhammad Shaiful Amir Omar. Indonesia is Malaysia's closest and most important neighbor and 9th largest trading partner globally, and the 3rd largest among the 10 ASEAN countries after Singapore and Thailand. In 2018, the total bilateral trade volume was 72.02 billion ringgit, up by 7.4% from the 71.51 billion ringgit in 2017. And after the four-eyed meeting, Tun Dr. Mahathir then took President Jokowi in a Proton Persona car, which the former drove himself to a luncheon he hosted at Sri Perdana, the Prime Minister's official residence. Tun Dr. Mahathir drove the red Proton Persona bearing registration number B2367A, which was followed by the other vehicles carrying members of the Indonesian entourage. This is the second time that President Jokowi had been in a Proton car driven by Tun Dr. Mahathir. In February 2015, Tun Dr. Mahathir had taken President Jokowi on a test drive in a Proton car at the Sepang race circuit. He was the chairman of Proton then. Well, later, Tun Dr. Mahathir and President Jokowi attended Friday prayers at the Putra Mosque in Putrajaya. The two leaders arrived at the mosque at about 1:30 p.m. in the Proton Persona car driven by Tun Dr. Mahathir himself. And also present was Defence Minister Muhammad Sabu, who is the minister in attendance. After the prayers led by the Imam of the mosque, Mustashaf Ibrahim, the two leaders exchanged greetings with members of the congregation who waited in line to shake hands. Jokowi and his wife, Iriana Joko Widodo, later left Malaysia at 3:20 p.m. for Singapore from the KL International Airport, KLIA. Defence Minister Muhammad Sabu, who was the minister in attendance, and his wife, Norma Alwi, bade farewell to Jokowi, Iriana, and the president's entourage at the airport. Also present was the Indonesian ambassador to Malaysia, Rusdi Kirana. Jokowi's trip to Singapore is to attend the country's 54th National Day celebration. Well, almost all Malaysian Hajj pilgrims have arrived in Arafah, Saudi Arabia, to begin performing the Mashar phase of Hajj tonight. And this year's Hajj season would witness 30,200 Malaysian pilgrims performing the 5th pillar of Islam, aided by 640 Tabung Haji personnel. Speaking to RTM earlier, Malaysian Hajj delegation leader Dato Seri Said Saleh Said Abdul Rahman said all of the pilgrims are expected to arrive at Arafah tonight to perform the Mashar.
Kita menjangkakan bahawa semua para jemaah haji akan sampai di Arafah sebelum maghrib, iaitu dalam pukul 4 lebih ataupun 5 lebih, insya-Allah mereka akan sampai ke Arafah. Dan ada beberapa kumpulan-kumpulan package yang akan bergerak pada waktu malam ini juga. Jadi insya-Allah pada malam ini insya-Allah keseluruhan para jemaah haji Malaysia akan berada di bumi Arafah untuk bersiap sedia pada esokkan harinya 9 Zulhijjah untuk mereka berwukuf di Arafah.
Dato Sri Said Saleh said that for the Safari Wukuf program, Tabung Haji personnel are preparing to bring patients at the Tabung Haji Shah Treatment Center in Makkah together at Arafah. Well, more corporate companies are urged to work together with the government to curb the issue of baby dumping in the country by conducting awareness campaigns nationwide. Women, Family and Community Development Deputy Minister Hannah Yeoh said there are currently several companies which have expressed their interest in participating in the awareness campaign.
Sekarang ini masih dalam proses untuk membawa kesedaran. Jadi kita sudah partner dengan Plus Highway untuk stiker di R&R. Kemudiannya kita baru partner dengan TGV Cinemas. TGV Cinemas ada 35 lokasi seluruh Malaysia. Mereka juga akan bantu kita mainkan advertisement itu untuk kami sedia membantu. Community, keluarga, support sangat penting.
Hannah said this after visiting the Alzheimer's Patient Daycare Center at Alzheimer's Home, Petaling Jaya, Selangor today. Based on statistics released by the Royal Malaysian Police, a total of 577 abortion cases were recorded between 2014 to 2018. The minister said that over 300 foster parents are on the waiting list to provide these babies a better life. Deputy Prime Minister, who is also Women, Family and Community Development Minister, Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Azizah Wan Ismail, on 28th June, launched an anti-abortion campaign. Well, DAP will not support any bill which will be contrary to the federal constitution, including the unilateral conversion of minors. Now, Selangor DAP Chairman Gobind Singh Dio said the federal constitution is supreme and overrides any provision of other laws which are inconsistent with it. Gobind said the bill which proposes religious conversions of minors, which was to be tabled at the Selangor State Legislative Assembly, was not raised at the Pakatan Rakyat meeting conducted on 8th August. He added that the bill proposal will not be tabled again.
The question of it being retabled again was never discussed at the Pakatan Harapan meeting yesterday. So of course I think the question of it being tabled again as it is doesn't arise. But insofar as we are concerned, my stand remains, and we are firm in our position that any bill which is unconstitutional ought not to be tabled in the State Legislative Assembly.
At the recent Selangor State Assembly, Speaker Ng Swee Lim was reported to have prevented the presentation of amendments to the state enactment on unilateral conversion to Islam. Gobind said Ng did not contravene any provisions under the rules applicable to his conduct of the business of the House. Currently, the enactment stipulates that individuals under the age of 18 must obtain their parents' consent before converting to Islam. The amendment seeks to change the word to mother or father. The Kuala Lumpur Sessions Court today set 8 days in January next year to hear a money laundering case involving Riza Shahriz Abdul Aziz, a stepson of former Prime Minister Dato Sri Najib Tun Razak. And Judge Rosina Ayub set 6th to 9th January and 13th to 16th in the same month to hear the case after Dato Sri Gopal Sri Ram, who is leading the prosecution team, informed the court that the prosecution had no intention to transfer the case to the High Court. Dato Sri Ram, who is a former federal court judge, also told the court that the prosecution will call less than 10 witnesses and that one of them is from Singapore. The prosecution also submitted some of the documents relating to the case to the defense today in accordance with Section 51A of the Criminal Procedure Code. Lawyer Dato Hariharan Tara Singh, representing Riza, did not raise any objection. The court then set 20th September for mention. Meanwhile, Deputy Public Prosecutor Ahmad Akram Garib of the prosecution team said the documents handed to the defense today involve several account statements from Switzerland and Singapore. On 5th July this year, Riza, 42, the owner of Red Granite Pictures, pleaded not guilty to 5 charges of money laundering involving $248 million, which was allegedly misappropriated from the One Malaysia Development Berhad, that's 1MDB fund. All the charges were made under Section 4, Subsection 1, Subsection A of the Anti-Money Laundering, Anti-Terrorism Financing and Proceeds of Unlawful Activities Act 2001, which provides for a maximum fine of 5 million ringgit or imprisonment of up to 5 years or both upon conviction. Well, a man was killed after the 5-ton lorry he was driving skidded onto the side of the road along Kampong Paris 2, Kinabatangan early today. The 27-year-old victim's identity was confirmed as Parman Ahman. Now, the victim, who was trapped in the lorry, was pronounced dead at the scene. And according to a statement released by the Sabah Fire and Rescue Department Operations Center, the Kinabatangan Fire Station received an urgent call on the incident at 5:04 a.m. And 3 firefighters, led by Senior Fire Officer Hairul Jamal, used a fire rescue tender FRT vehicle for the operation. The firefighters and rescuers extricated the victim using a hydraulic cutter before handing the remains over to the police for further action. Well, coming up, DICE policy to drive Malaysia as a regional digital content hub. And welcome back. Now, a meeting will be held between the Human Resources Ministry, Malaysian Employers Federation, that's MEF, and the Malaysian Trade Union Congress, MTUC, regarding the rebranding of the 3D sector, or dangerous, dirty and difficult jobs. Its Minister M. Kulasegaran said this is among the matters which will be discussed during the ministry's upcoming monthly meeting.
Very good. You asked Majikan to ask this question when I'm having a meeting next week. I'm having setiap bulan saya adakan mesyuarat dengan mereka. They can raise the matter at that time.
So maybe
No, we will be talking with them, with MTUC dengan MEF. Kita akan berjumpa. I don't know what date. I think next week one particular date. The meeting. You can ask them to ask. They will discuss. Alright.
Kulasegaran said this during a press conference held after the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between the Human Resources Department, Daiking Malaysia, and the Human Resources Development Berhad. Through the collaboration, air conditioning installation skills will be upgraded in the refrigeration and air conditioning industry through the Air Conditioning Training Certificate Program. Kulasegaran said the training duration will be extended to 11 p.m. to provide a more flexible time, especially for those who are working.
That can help them mine 1 million workforce in the late.
The Communications and Multimedia Ministry is working with the Malaysia Digital Economy Corporation, MDEC, to establish a new digital content ecosystem known as DICE policy that it aims to realize by the end of the year. Its Minister Gobind Singh Dio said the policy aimed at strengthening the local digital content industry and ultimately position Malaysia as the leader in digital content creation and production in the region. Gobind said the policy also aims to bring more foreign investments into the country.
Again, we have a DICE policy, as I said in my speech earlier, digital content ecosystem, and I think this is something that will help to encourage and, of course, get people thinking about how it is they can actually invest in Malaysia and, of course, use Malaysia as a base for their products in future. There are some announcements that we will make in the last quarter of this year in respect of certain investments that are coming to Malaysia as a result of this policy, but I won't announce it now. I will announce it soon.
Gobind said this after the announcement of the 5th edition of the Level Up KL 2019 event in Kuala Lumpur today. Level Up KL 2019, which is to take place from 6 November to 10th November, is an annual Southeast Asian Game Festival which will be the platform for the region that brings together the local, regional and international community of games developers, publishers and technology providers to gather, learn and share the latest information of content development technologies and business trends in the industry. Now, as the hot and dry weather has led to lower water levels at rivers and dams in several southern states, members of the public have been urged to use water sparingly, especially during the upcoming Hari Raya Aidil Adha celebrations. National Water Services Commission SPAN Chairman Charles Santiago says the water situation of the dams in these areas, however, is still under control. Commenting further in a statement released today, Charles said SPAN will continue to monitor the supply of water to consumers closely, especially during this unpredictable hazy conditions as well as hot and dry spells. As such, he called on the people to avoid water wastage to ensure adequate supply at all times. On 1st of August, it was reported that the west coast of Peninsular Malaysia and Sarawak had begun to experience a haze following forest fires in 6 provinces in Indonesia. The forest fires were detected in Riau, South Sumatra, Jambi, West Kalimantan, Central Kalimantan and South Kalimantan. Coming up in sports, Terengganu claims shock win over Kedah. Terengganu FC or TFC pulled off a shock 2-0 victory over 5-time champions Kedah in a Group A match played at the Darul Aman Stadium in Alosar last night. TFC's first goal came in the 65th minute with Chiche Kipre heading in a free kick from team captain Leandro Tuck, and Kipre scored his brace in the 86th minute through an interesting lob. The total squad pulled off the amazing feat with 10 players on the pitch after goalkeeper Muhammad Ilham Amirullah Razali was shown a red card in the 45th minute for a foul against Muhammad Farhan Roslan outside the penalty box. Meanwhile, Kedah head coach Aidil Sharin Sahak wants his team to forget last night's defeat to TFC and focus on the next match against PKNS FC. The Red Eagles coach said the team put up a good performance but failed to convert the many opportunities at goal. Aidil also denied that the defeat was due to fatigue, saying that his team was in good momentum after having won the FA Cup recently. TFC coach Muhammad Nafuzi Muhammad Zain said it was not easy for his team to beat Kedah at the opponent's home ground, especially when the team only played with 10 players in the second half. He said the players showed a high level of commitment and discipline. PKNP FC got their first win by defeating UiTM FC 2-0 in a Group B action at the UiTM Stadium in Shah Alam. This is UiTM FC's second defeat, where both of the visitors' goals were scored towards the end of each half. Amani Aguinaldo scored off a corner kick in the 45th minute before Pedro Victor sealed the victory for the Ipoh-based club in the 85th minute. While 4-time Malaysia Cup champions Pahang recorded their second consecutive victory in the group stage of the competition after defeating Perak 3-0 at the Darul Makmur Stadium in Kuantan last night. The hosts were made to wait until the 40th minute for the opener as Harold Golon opened the score for Pahang after heading in a free kick delivery from Nur Azam Abdul Aziz before Sadil Ramdani doubled the lead for the home side in the 67th minute, finishing across from Mohamadu Sumare. Lazarus Kaimbi added the icing on the cake through a solo effort in the 81st minute. The victory sees the Tok Gajah squad top Group C with 6 points. Meanwhile, 33-time champion Selangor found their first victory of the campaign win with a 1-0 win over Melaka in Group D action at the Hang Jebat Stadium in Melaka. This was courtesy to Jang Suk Won's own goal in the 61st minute. Now, the win for Selangor put them in top spot in Group D, while Melaka now sit at the bottom of the group following the defeat. While football fans attending the upcoming Sultan of Selangor Cup or TSSC, which is scheduled to take place at the Shah Alam Stadium on the 24th of August, stands a chance to win 3 grand prizes valued more than 160,000 ringgit. Elaborating further on the matter, TSSC Organising Chairman Tan Sri Abdul Karim Munisa said among the grand prizes up for grabs includes a Honda City worth 80,000 ringgit, a Harley Davidson motorcycle also worth 80,000 ringgit, and 3 days, 2 nights stay in Sabah worth 3,600 ringgit. He said this to the media in Angkasapuri, Kuala Lumpur. Tan Sri Abdul Rahim said tickets for the event can also be purchased by logging into TSSC's Facebook page, besides purchasing it at the Shah Alam Stadium itself. He further noted that 40,000 tickets have been sold so far. Well, that concludes this evening's News on 2. In our top story, Indonesia President Jokowi visits Malaysia after winning re-election. Well, News on 2 is on the lookout for editors and presenters for our bulletins. If you are interested to join our English team, well, please email your application and CV to newson2@gmail.com. And join us again at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon. I'm Muhammad Amin Carlos. Stay tuned to TV2 and have a pleasant evening.